9 o'clock, and it is time to call this special meeting of the Cooke County Commissioners Court to order. We do have a quorum if necessary today, but I don't think we're going to need to vote on anything. However, item number 2 is to deliberate and consider possible action in accordance with the 2003.012 of the Texas Election Code for the canvass of votes resulting from the November 4th, 2025 election. Pam, do you want to talk to this one?
Yes. So this election actually went really smooth. I don't know if y'all knew that Secretary of State got a new election management system. So we were really thinking we were going to have a lot of issues. I mean, we did have to add some voters that didn't get in the system, but we handled that very good. So it went actually really smooth. So what you're looking at in front of you, of course, like every year, this page on the top is just the results, and this comes from scanning the ballots through the precinct scanners in my central count scanner. That's where these numbers come from, because what we're doing is we're canvassing to make sure everything, voters and ballots match. So the second sheet that looks like this is a sheet that now comes from the management system that shows the voters. This is the number of voters in each precinct who voted by mail, early voting election day. And so to compare that, I make this canvas sheet. That's the colored one. So that's going to show you all that on one sheet. That's how many voters we had during early voting, ballot by mail, and then election day. So you see that all the voters match the number of ballots. I had one different, which was precinct 33. They had one more voter than they had ballots. So the only thing we can think of is that I always call and say, did anything crazy happen? Did you check someone in and then they decided not to vote and you forgot to go cancel them? But they couldn't remember anything, but all we can think is a voter must have either walked out with his ballot and didn't get it in the ballot box. I mean, there's no other really explanation, but as a discrepancy, just one ballot being short is pretty good. Because the next sheet is what this reconciliation, that's something that, this one that the Secretary of State started a couple years ago that we have to do to reconcile the election. And we have to tell them why we're off and what percent we're off by. And of course, I just put on there that we must have had a fleeing voter, and that's what they call it. When the voter walks out with their ballot, it's called a fleeing voter. And this election, we're surprised we actually didn't have that more. We didn't have I'd say we had one blank ballot that you'll see on your precinct by precinct, but because people went to vote and they didn't even know what was really on the ballot, and they get in there and they don't know how to vote, and they may just be embarrassed and just walk out with their ballot because they didn't know how to vote. I could almost see it. Really surprised that maybe didn't happen, but we're really make sure that even if to tell people, if you don't know what to vote, you still can put your ballot in the box. Just leave it blank, but we got to have that ballot in there so everything matches. And then, of course, this just shows y'all precinct by precinct, total votes, how it was. And you can see, if you're interested in how the Valley View or St. Joe went, that's on there too. So all in all, everything was good. Only having one ballot off, I think it's really great. And this sheet that I gave y'all, this is something I started creating, this early votes by hour. But I put a lot of different statistics on there, like the age of the voter turnout, how many provisional, how many limited, and the percent. And so 19% is pretty high for an amendment election. Last year in 2023, it was right at 20%, so about the same. But normal is about 15%. I looked at a couple elections before that, Constitutional Amendment, and they were like 15, 16. So 15%. So this is actually pretty high for a constitutional amendment election, but of course having the bonds on there. Last year the Gainesville ISD bond was on the election. This time it was Valley View, so that does bring up your voter turnout. So y'all have any questions about anything?
No. God, everything went pretty smooth.
Once again, a very good job, Pam.
Thank you
for what you do.
We need a
We just need a vote to
Yeah, I made a comment earlier that when I said we had a quorum, we do need a quorum.
Yeah.
Because we do need to vote for this.
Yes. Of course, it could have been 2 people, but I'm glad we got everybody here.
I think all we do though is just accept the results.
But right now, this one, yeah, we're going to accept these canvas, and then the next one, we're going to vote on this certificate that y'all have to sign.
Okay.
I'll make the motion, we accept the votes for canvas.
We have a motion, Commissioner Snuggs, that we accept the
Votes for the canvas.
votes for canvas,
Does that work?
Yeah.
and I'll second that. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. And what is the second issue, Pam?
Now we're just doing the certificate of election results. Now we're actually voting on this certificate. And I put all the numbers on here too. I just need to hold on that side.
Were there any questions on this at all after the election? Did you field any questions at all about any of
Did I have any
Election.
questions about?
from the voters?
Oh. I mean, of course, yes, we did.
Okay.
A lot of questions, mostly about like, where are the candidates? What
That's-
does this proposition mean if I vote for or against? And of course, we can't answer that. And of course, we tell them the candidates will be on the primary in March, you know, but I mean, questions like that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, a lot of them did come late and were mad because they come here to vote on election day thinking we're countywide because they've moved here. We had a lot of, I mean, you'll see we have 30,267 and 2 years ago, we only had 28,000. So that's a lot of people moving here, and they come from counties that vote countywide. So they were coming here thinking they could vote here. And and even people that have been here, and they'll say, well, I voted here last time. I said, but did you early vote? And of course they realize, yeah, I might have early voted. And then they're mad because they have to drive somewhere else, you know. And I do think it's getting close to the time we probably need to start looking at countywide voting for Cooke County because we're getting bigger. But everything's fixing to change in 2027 anyway, so we might want to just wait and see how that changes because there are some legislatures or what do they call it, senators that want to get rid of countywide voting. So you hate to go through the whole process of being countywide when they're kind of looking at getting rid of countywide voting.
Could we do where we have all the precincts, but then just have a location here that was county-wide?
I mean, that's what we have during early voting.
Well, I
That's
know,
what-
but could we do that on election day?
Only if your county goes countywide.
Okay.
But
But
you
we
know-
don't have to do it where they're all linked up. We could just have one.
Well, no, you would still have to have more than one
Okay.
precinct. Because can you
Yeah,
imagine
you
this
can't
many
do
people going
countywide.
through?
It wouldn't be countywide.
It wouldn't be countywide, but you know what I mean, where people could just come to here
Right,
on
mhm.
election day.
No, you get to, if you do countywide right now, it's like we have 15 precincts. I think you could go down to like 8 or 9. They keep changing that. So you would have to choose your 8 locations to vote, and that'd be your countywide voting,
Okay.
or anybody could go to any of them 8 locations.
So how would you know? Guess you just have it all tied together. Say I come over here to vote.
Yeah, like on
Instead of
election
being-
day, you could
yeah.
vote right here, because we would still have a
But how would
location
they-
here.
How would you know that I didn't vote over there?
Right, because then publics, that's why publics have to talk to each other. And we've got that now. That's why we didn't do it for a long time, because we had to get to the resources we need, and we have to have enough machines. I feel like finally, we have 112. I think we have enough machines now. We have, all the precincts are talking to each other all day long. I could look on my computer and see how many people have voted. That's how I was able to add these voters that weren't in the system. Brandy would find them. Yep, they should have been in the poll book. And she would send them to me, and I would enter them. And it linked together. As soon as I entered them, I'd tell that precinct 11 had a bunch of them, because we had a lot of new people getting registered over there for that bond. And, okay, they're in your poll book now. They'd be in the poll book, so it's pretty cool. So, yeah, countywide would be the same way. The poll book instantly will say that you've already voted. If the hotspots are working, and, you know, it's a little scary, but, yeah, and I do feel like we finally have enough machines, because you have to then you're paperless, you know? And we still have a lot of voters who don't want that. they want your paper ballots.
Big crowd over west, we're all up.
Yep, yes. So that will be a decision that, yeah, y'all will have to make, I feel like in the next, because in 2027, it all changes. We vote for 12 days straight. The way it words it, it's almost like, and you can combine them, your precincts. They're telling you now you combine precincts more, and you just vote for 12 days. So that's going to be a challenge, how that's going to work, because your judges are picking up your supplies when you're still early voting. So right now, they don't pick up their supplies till I know them poll books have all the early voters in there. And you're going to just depend on them hotspots working. So,
At this point, I don't know why they call it early voting. Just polls are
exactly.
open for 12 days, and,
Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of
Yeah.
silly, but
yeah, so I don't know, it's just a lot of changes, so,
you said we need to vote on this?
yeah, we do need a vote.
Well, that'll be item number 3. Item number 3 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding certification of election results. Does anybody else have any more questions for Pam before we vote on this one? If not, then I will make the motion that we certify the results of the election as printed.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Sicking. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And there are none. That motion passes 5-0. Thank you, ma'am, for all of that. Brings us to item number 4, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the request by Jamie Marish, Tourism Marketing Coordinator for the City of Gainesville, to utilize the DPS building as an anchor point for signage to go across California for major events.
Good morning. My name is actually Paulina Schutz-Witkowski. I'm the Director of the Communication and Outreach Department. Jamie's right here, so if you have any questions directly to her, feel free to ask. So for this item, we are hoping to really promote local events to our community. And one of the ways we want to do that is to put a sign up over California. And one clear place for us to do that is between the DPS building and the building where Land and Winery is. We haven't really looked too deeply into that because we wanted to make sure it was even okay to look into this possibility. You all own the DPS building, and so we would love your permission to move forward to look further into it and see what the mechanisms and hooks or whatever the attachments would be. So it would be temporary signage that would get approved through TxDOT, and they do have a process for that where they just need to review the artwork in order to approve it. And our Parks and Rec department would handle hanging the signs with their bucket trucks and taking them down after the events. And we are working on policies of what kind of events would qualify for that signage. And obviously we would coordinate with you all to make sure that since it's going to be attached to your building, you would at least also get to look at the artwork for any signage, just like TxDOT would, to make sure it's in line with all of our visions and missions.
Did TxDOT approve it, basically? I mean, did they give you the go ahead?
Yes, so they said we can put it over California, but we do need, well, this isn't what they said, but we know we need your permission to make sure that we can use your buildings for that sign.
Have you talked to the winery people yet?
Not yet. We're starting with you all. And then well, technically, I guess you could say we started with TxDOT, and so we're working more and more
Okay.
local, so. Not yet, but obviously everyone's approval will have to be executed in order to, and in writing, to make sure that we're all on the same page of what it's all gonna look like.
Okay, and this wouldn't be in any way commercial or anything like that. Would this be pretty much public service type information that we're posting here? Or?
If I understand your question correctly, it wouldn't be to promote like local businesses or anything like
That's
that.
right.
It would be for just events. So for example, next weekend on Saturday, we have, on the 22nd, we have Gainesville Wine and Country. So for next year, we could put a sign up for that. We could put up a sign for Depot Day. We could put up signs for sip and, the wine stroll, basically anything that could bring in tourism, but also be a quality of life event for our local community. We want to make sure that our community and those visiting it are feeling welcomed, and that's one very big way that we could do it, is to literally say welcome on a sign over one of the main thoroughfares of our city and county.
I personally don't have any issue with it. There would be an issue if we end up selling the building in the future, but I think whenever you emailed me, I mentioned that. But I don't see any issue, as long as Landed Winery approves it.
I'm assuming you'll put some type of permanent anchors.
Yes, sir. Just like our special events permits that we have with the city, there would be a protocol for accepting applications to put up signage, and the people who are sponsoring the event would be responsible for the signs. And then we would just facilitate how that would work through our Parks and Rec department. I've already talked to the director there about what the costs would be for labor and things like that, so we can have a clear process, and we would keep you all posted on what that looks like from our side, and get your comments on the application, just to make sure we're all on the same page.
I mean, I think it's a good idea. I mean, you drive through towns and they're advertising upcoming rodeos and stuff of that nature. It's what I envision this looking like. My concern would be, when we install those anchors, is that a stucco building? Brick. Is it brick, the exterior? So, I mean, we'd want to be sure that somebody,
I'd like to know before we anchor it, how it's gonna be anchored, because
Yes, sir.
I don't wanna just come drive some lag screws in there and think that's gonna last. I want.
I don't want
Make
to
sure it's
damage
gonna
the
be right.
integrity of the walls, where I'm headed
Right.
with this. I don't have any objection to the banner at all, assuming it's done right and it doesn't cause
Right.
any damage to the structure.
Yes, sir. We definitely will be thorough with our options of how we could get that fastened onto the buildings, and we will make sure we do the least damage possible if this gets approved. And if it kind of puts y'all mind at ease, it's actually our priority to also work with our local historic buildings to continue to revitalize them. Jamie's working on a presentation for some of the local folks who are interested in tourism, and part of that is going to be funding from the state and the federal levels to help maintain and maybe even improve the integrity of our local historic buildings, specifically the ones in downtown, because it's part of a downtown revitalization set of grants. And all that to say, we are really committed to maintaining the integrity of our historic buildings.
You know that there used to be, more years than I care to tell you how many, there used to be things strung across California Street all the way up and down the street.
Mm-hmm.
Historically, you were talking about that. I wonder if any of those anchors are still, I know it wouldn't be for the ones you're talking about. Well, I don't know, it could be on the crest. I don't know. But neither here nor there, okay.
It's
So
my
historically,
understanding-
it's already been done.
Yeah, it's my understanding that it used to be done on telephone poles,
Well, it was
Or
during
light
Christmas
poles
and
or
things like
something.
that.
and so there are lots of options, and who knows, maybe the best option would even be to work with Texon to get specific poles put in, but we just want to make sure we're visiting all of the options, including structures. But yeah, this is just very preliminary. Like I said, we hope to have it done for next year. But, government takes time, so I'm here now.
I'll make a motion that we allow this, but maybe it come back to us on the anchoring point in the future. How's that sound?
Sounds good. I'll second that motion.
Does that make sense to you?
Just to
when
keep
you
you all updated basically with.
Well, when you get the permission from Landon and you figure out like what kind of anchoring you want to put on the wall, come
Yeah.
back to us so we can get it approved with our maintenance and everything.
Approved based on specific details.
Yeah.
Yes,
of-
sir.
Of what gonna be bolted in the building.
Of course.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? If not, Commissioner Snuggs made the motion, I made the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? There are none. Motion passes 5-0. With those conditions, with those
Yes, sir.
qualifications, okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
next
Are you
item.
also here for
Yeah.
number
Okay.
5?
Yes, sir. Can't get rid of me that quick.
Sorry.
Not trying to. Okay, item number 5, deliberate and consider possible action regarding designating a representative to present at the City of Gainesville Parking Committee meetings.
So I'm not sure if, I'm sure you actually are all aware, parking downtown and around downtown, the off streets. There's been various types of feedback about what the challenges are and what maybe the opportunities are. And so instead of doing a government tells you what to do type of situation with how we're going to do parking, whether we're going to enforce it with citations, for example, for 2-hour parking, the city put together a committee that includes city officials, but also some local businesses downtown. And we would like to invite someone from the county, since you all obviously are going to be impacted by this as well, to be part of the conversation, because every perspective has something unique to contribute. And we were hoping that you all could be, or designate someone to speak on behalf of the county officials and employees who work in the area to be part of the conversation of potential changes in parking. What those changes in parking are going to be, I have no idea. That's literally what the committee is for. And, you know, I think it would be a disservice if we made some sort of decisions and you all weren't included on it. So I'd really love it if you could participate in any way.
Let me first of all ask this group up here, any volunteers to do that?
I'm already on the guiding Gainesville 40 or whatever committee. We're talking about it in there too.
Yeah, so the Guiding Gainesville 2040, that is the overall basic, for example, the meeting tonight is for the downtown master plan. And yes, parking is gonna be part of that conversation. However, part of the recommendations in there are to address parking, but how we address parking, that's gonna be dictated by us, basically. So we want to make a committee of people who are going to be impacted by it, specifically the downtown folks and people who work downtown, live downtown, and visit downtown, to participate in the conversation of the execution of how it's going to happen. So some of the goals are going to be short-term goals, which we hope to meet within the next 1 to 5 years, or 1 to 3 years is short-term, and parking is going to be part of that. And yeah, we would love your input on that.
With that in mind, I will make the motion that Commissioner Snuggs be our appointed representative to your committee.
Yay. I'd be happy to help.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Is that a second?
I'll second.
There you go.
Thank you, Jim.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? There are none. Motion passes 5-0. And thank you very much for presenting and being here. Okay, item number 6 is next, which is our workshop. So we'll take a short break here, I think, in between the special call meeting. Let's be back here at, let me see, what time is it? Make sure and be back here. Is 9:35 enough, 10 minutes? Okay. Be back here at 9:35. To this point, we've been streaming, have we not? Okay. Commissioner Snuggs, you made the suggestion earlier that we not stream the workshop. You still, okay. So with the court's approval, we'll not stream the workshop portion of this.
So that girl said her name was Polly?
Yeah, I have her name in an email.